welcome to another episode of ZoeTV. And what a good show we have today. I'm excited. Got a great show.
I love both our guests.
I do too. And we're going to start with one of my favorites because guess what?
What?
She works with me.
And she works right across from me.
Well, so we're the lucky ones. Yes. So Laura Zaki is joining us, and she is the development coordinator, which means she does all the stuff that is really amazing. And
she does all the heavy lifting for you.
She does.
In your role.
Yes.
So you can hang out with residents. She's doing all your dirty work.
She's doing all the work.
But I love it.
Yes, and a lot of the residents have gotten to know her and love her, but we want to get to know a little bit more about her. So Laura, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Laura
Zaki. First time being on TV. This is like a big deal.
Well, this is
It'll be going viral.
This is a real big deal.
Our
TV show is like, it's right up there with what?
Oprah.
Oprah?
Oh yeah, I was going to say Friends, but
don't date yourself,
There
Kaye.
you go.
What, is Friends old? I just found it. Okay, anyway, our good friend Laura, tell us, when did you get here? I mean, I know, but maybe everybody else
So it was October 2019.
Okay.
So about a year and a half ago.
So
time flies.
Yeah,
I know, right before the
right
big
before
COVID.
COVID. So we didn't expect that, but we've been able to pivot and really make the most of it.
Well, and actually, you got to work from home for a few months, and
I did.
That was good for you, but not good for us.
And I missed being on campus because I love the residents and talking to the residents, and my coworkers are all so nice and wonderful to be around. And I like being at home. I worked from home for a long time.
Yes.
For about 10 years. I worked from home.
Okay, so it's kind of good to get out.
Yeah, I kind of did it when my kids were growing up, and when nobody else was really doing that. I worked. I lived in South Florida.
Okay.
And I worked for a company up in New York. So I worked from home, and then I would travel once a month to close out the books and do stuff like that.
Wow. So tell everybody what it is you do here, because I know what you do, but explain to everybody what your job is. And I know so many of the residents already know you, so you've done a good job of not just staying behind the computer screen, and I'm really proud of you.
I do a lot behind the computer screen, so a lot of the behind the scenes work with working with the database and tracking all of our donations. So as a nonprofit foundation, we need to track everything very carefully.
Right.
And we do it down to the penny.
Yes, we do.
There's a lot of that goes with it, and working with Razor's Edge, which is the database that we use. And that's been a lot of fun. I love data.
Yes, I know.
I love spreadsheets, and I love databases, and I just have fun with it. And then a lot of, when we were still doing events, there was a lot of event planning to be done, and hopefully that will change
I hope so
soon.
too. I miss all the things we didn't get to do last year.
Yeah.
And I hope we can do some of those this year.
Yeah, we had been planning the Quarter Mania, so that I worked on that for a long time.
Still want to do that one, and the women's tea.
The women's tea and the Heritage Society tea. I mean, there were so many things, and I love ideas, so I'm always coming up.
Yes, you come up
crazy.
with some great. No, not at all. I love it. And one thing that has been really impressive is since you got here, you just stepped right into making chili for the chili cook-off, being in the talent show, and that was only in your first few months. So people will get to know you now that we're going to be out and about. And I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I just saw a picture of my dad pop up on the slideshow, and my dad loves to sing. I'm a horrible singer, I'm really bad.
But you did it. That's so fun.
Did it.
But we had fun, and my dad, he was, my grandfather was an opera singer.
Oh, wow.
So he grew up in Italy, and he was a professional opera singer for a while. But he was a little bit short. He had a disease in childhood that stunted his growth.
Oh my gosh.
So he couldn't do it professionally. So they owned a restaurant later in life. They were in their 50s, and they came to New York, and they opened an Italian restaurant. So he would sing opera behind the counter.
How cool is that story.
And the food must have been amazing.
Oh, my grandma did all the
Did
cooking.
you learn how to cook some of his stuff?
Yeah. My grandma was in the
Okay.
kitchen.
I know.
Have
we
you ever
haven't-
brought anything in for
Oh,
us?
I should. I haven't done
Brazil?
that, but yeah,
I love
yeah.
Italian.
I do
I
too.
do a good
Bolognese?
lasagna. Well, I do a good bolognese. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we
well,
know.
Now we
Hey.
know.
Oh yeah.
No getting out of it now. Sorry.
I know.
So you lived in Florida,
I lived in.
and
Yes.
then did you go from Florida right to Arizona, or what
Right
made
to
you steer
Arizona.
towards Arizona?
I have my family here.
Okay.
So I've got my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister. And I was just ready for something to change. I
Sure.
was, kind of that point in my life where I wanted something different. And I
Okay.
said, let me do this, And so
That's
I drove
cool.
the car. My son, my older son, Noah, he's 23. So he drove the truck with everything. We packed it all,
Yep.
whatever we could fit. Whatever we couldn't fit, we left behind.
Yeah.
And I drove with the cat and my younger son Ryan, and we just, we
Wow.
came west.
Okay. How was driving with a cat from Florida?
Oh, it was so hard.
I can't even
Because,
imagine.
Fluffy didn't like the car, and Ryan was just nervous and worried about Fluffy, and it was so hard. But we
But
did
you
it.
did it.
We made it.
And Fluffy made the trip fine.
yeah.
Wow,
There you
that's
go.
impressive.
yeah.
And now she has the cutest dog.
Oh, my Chiefy.
I love your
What kind of dog is it?
So Chiefy's an Australian Kelpie,
Oh.
and they're a sheep herding dog.
Okay.
So he'll sometimes herd dogs at the dog park. It's the cutest thing. And he's just a little rascal.
How old?
He is 2 years old.
Okay. All right.
And he's a rescue from the
Very cool.
Halo.
Yep.
And
Sure.
he's just he's just such a love.
Yeah.
We need to have like a dog day.
I know, bring
where
your
staff
dog
brings
to-
dogs. We need to
Oh,
put the residents'
That
dog.
would be cool.
That
We
would
need
be
to
a
create
great
a-
thing. I'm gonna have to get a
There's
dog.
so many dogs on this campus.
I know.
There
They are
are.
well loved everywhere you go.
They
The
Yeah.
are.
residents love their dogs.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Well,
We
who
got the
doesn't?
cat.
You have a new dog,
I
so.
got 2 puppies.
Oh, you have puppies.
I do.
What kind of puppies do you
I
have?
got these American hairless terriers, so they're completely
Oh.
bald. There's
Oh,
no hair
really?
on these at all. And they're little guys, but they're terriers, so they're little rat terriers. But
Oh.
they work for our house. They're all allergy people in my house. So
Oh.
these are like the legit hypoallergenic. They have no dander, just eyelashes. They're only hair on them.
My
They're
mom
fun.
would love that because she wants a dog so bad, but she doesn't like the shedding.
That's it. There's
Yeah.
no
Oh,
shedding.
That
they
would be
are
perfect for
adorable.
her.
You should see his dogs. They really
Oh.
are cute.
They're high maintenance though. You got to put sunscreen on them, lotion,
Oh.
shirts. I mean, it is a lot of. It's like having
they have
2
to
other
wear a
kids.
shirt all the
They gotta
time?
wear clothes. They like legit have to wear clothes.
Because they get
Oh,
too
they
cold.
They
and
get
too hot.
sunburned,
Oh.
then they get cold.
Oh,
It's my life.
Not Chiefy.
that's how it is. Well, Chiefy's a little high maintenance too.
Yeah.
He just is so naughty. Sometimes he gets into everything.
So where did you work prior? Because you have so much insight and you love the data. And did you have a lot of experience in that nonprofit world coming into this environment, or is
Actually,
it?
I was in the for-profit
Oh,
world, so I
good.
actually was the complete polar opposite. I worked for a hedge fund
Okay.
up in New York City, and I was a financial controller. So a lot of accounting, auditing, all that compliance stuff.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I was good with numbers, and I did that for 22 years. And I had worked on the trading floor for a big investment banking firm, and that's how I got into that.
This
I
is why we
know.
do these segments
Well-
with our staff that are relatively newer people. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Oh yeah,
You knew it.
I interviewed her, but we talked about that. Like, are you sure you want to get into this? And she was like, yes. The whole database thing. This is right up my alley. Plus, she loves nonprofit work. What you probably
do.
don't know about Laura is she spends all her weekends feeding the homeless, bringing
Just a
water.
heart for that.
I
She
love it.
has a huge heart for people who really need
Wow.
extra help, and she's constantly working.
Well, I know
volunteering.
you got to be good at numbers, obviously, but to do what you guys do in the Razor's Edge, in the compliance that you have to have as the nonprofit status of every dollar and cent accounted for, that's a lot of work you two do. I mean, that's a big pushing up your
Well,
boulder.
yes, and one thing I'd like to say, while both Laura and I are here, it's not too late to give your Arizona tax credit dollars
There you
to
go.
us.
Yes, definitely.
You know, I did my taxes. I don't know if this is everybody's experience. I got my money back in less than 8 days.
That's
So you're not
great.
without. You don't.
I love that.
It all comes right
Very-
back.
Yeah,
I know
it's
people
really a
don't
good.
believe it, that it really
It
does all
seems
come
too
right
good
back.
to be true, but we are living proof that it happens.
Yeah,
Right? You
yeah.
give and you get it back.
And we have quite a few employees that are giving. And
Yes.
it keeps growing, so hopefully more people
That's
will
cool.
get on board. And
That's good. What other projects in the spring and the next year fall are you guys working on that you want to
Well-
talk through? Anything big
Well,
coming down the pipe?
We want to go back to the kind of the tip where we want to do something with the Heritage Foundation Society. So we're hoping we can plan a lunch for that. We do talk about Quarter Mania.
that's like my baby.
Yeah.
So we had collected a lot of raffle prizes for Quarter Mania, and it's just a fun event where people can bid on items with quarters.
Right.
And I think it's just,
Well, and we were going to
so
do it
fun.
last year, March 20th. So,
Yeah.
And we met up until the beginning of March thinking we could eke this out, right? We thought we could
We
do
thought
it.
we
but
could do it.
everything
but-
shut down and we had to put it all on hold, so we want to do it. We want a chance to
We
do
did
that
the online
live.
auction with some things.
Right,
and
that were going to
that was-
expire and
Yeah, and that was fun. It was a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
And we enjoyed doing that. But I think online is a little bit of a challenge sometimes. People like to kind of get in person and see what they're bidding on.
Sure, absolutely.
So it's a lot more fun.
Well, this has been great. I know
I know.
everybody out there enjoys these segments because they can put a little more context to who's behind the scenes and who is working on this campus, and especially in your guys' world of doing so much with their money and being good stewards of it and all the donations. So I'm sure a lot of your story will resonate. A lot of Florida people around.
well, now they're going to want her to be their financial
Well, now I want her to be my home cook. I got nothing
There you
past
go.
bolognese because
Yeah.
Oh, I'll bring some in.
okay,
I love
it's
that.
on record.
Yeah. He'll be bugging you about that, but anyway.
All right, well, thank you
Laura.
so
Thank
much.
you
So
so
fun.
much.
Yeah, it's
I
been great.
appreciate it.
Awesome. We are so excited for another episode of our Resident of Inspiration.
Yes.
This segment is special. I love
I
it.
love it too.
I missed it last week, and I got to see it on tape, but there's nothing about being here now that we're all back together
Mm-hmm.
to talk to the nominee because they are so special
Yes, they
to this campus.
are.
So Rose Mary Hedin
Yes.
is our nominee this week.
Yes.
Millers, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
how did
How
that
about-
go? Were you surprised?
Shocked.
Shocked.
And why?
Why not? we
Okay.
have all the knowing Vi, knowing Vi and Marvin. I tell you, when he plays his accordion,
Oh,
I
yeah.
tell Vi, I said, it sings.
Oh, yes.
It sings. So she walks and she comes by court too and all that. And she's, I did something, I nominated you. And I had just seen a show a couple of days. And I said, oh, why did you do that?
Well,
Because you deserve it.
that's right.
So, and she said, will you do it? And I said, yeah, I'll do it.
Well, thank you. We are so happy that she chose you.
Yeah.
That was a great
Now,
choice.
where on campus are you? You said Court 2?
Court 2,
Okay.
Unit 38.
Okay. I always like to, we talk about this after the show, of watching the nominees get moved from one side of campus to the other, and it just shows how the community, it doesn't matter where you live on campus, you're making an impact at other places.
Right.
And I
Well-
think that's evident here.
I know Vi and Marvin through church.
Yeah.
Through Community of Faith?
Yes.
Yes. Such a great church. So how long have you been here?
8.5 years.
Wow. And what brought you here? I know you came here with Jean, so.
Yeah. People didn't realize that Gene was as sick as he was. He had a knot on the side of his neck and about the size of a hen egg. And it turned out he had cancer on the back of his tongue. He had surgery. Went through 35 units of chemo. And didn't make the 36th, ended up in the hospital on the 26th of August of 2012, and was then in rehab or the hospital until October of 23rd that he was out of the hospital because while he was in rehab and all that and the hospitals, I thought he was going to go into total care.
Mm.
And Robin and I visited Glencroft in the very early days with a friend who had a mom living here.
Okay.
And Rob and I fell in love with Glencroft.
Oh, well, we're glad you did.
And it turned out it was kind of on our, if we can afford it when we get to our age, we want to live at Glencroft. And so then when Jean got so sick, and I thought he was going to, because he would have never moved here.
Right.
It was just something that he was not going to do. And so my daughter, Gina,
Mm-hmm.
has always known that I wanted Glencroft.
Mm-hmm.
So he met Gene at the doctor's office, and things were not going well. Whenever they brought him back to Glencroft, he was here before I was, because that's
The skilled.
Yes.
Okay.
In the care center.
Yeah.
And we walked out of the doctor's office, and she says, "Mom, it's time to go get you a place at Glencroft." So we came, met Amy,
Oh, yes.
and and I wanted Court too because my sister lives here.
Oh.
And then Robin had
That's right.
moved next door to her. God's plan. See, God's been working all these years to put this all together. So I said I want Court too because of my sister and because of Robin. And we went into the first one, and then it was home. So Amy says, "We'll go look at another one." So we went look at another one, and we walked in there, and Gina and I looked at each other, and Amy, we want the one next door. And that's the way Gina has felt about the place ever since. She says, "Mom, this is home."
Oh,
That's a
I
great
love
story.
that. Yes.
So Gene passed away December 18, 2019. And with him and all this, I was not keeping up with the news about the virus.
I bet.
And so when we had the memorial service for him the end of January, that's when I started getting things taken care of. And when they announced that the second week in March was going to be shut down, I was sort of in the fog,
Mm-hmm.
had no idea because I hadn't been paying that much attention to it. And so it has been a very trying time. Then I had a surgery in
I know.
June and all of this, and I have learned so much. People thought I would be moving, and I said, "Why do I want to move?" I said, "I've been wanting to come here for about 40 years. Why would I move?"
Right.
And if Gene would have lived and I was stuck with the home and all that, I would have never made it because I had Glencroft.
Oh,
That's very special.
that is a great story, and you're right about that. I mean, that's what we feel like. We
That's
are
right.
a family, and people take
That's
care
right.
of each other.
Well, when in a neighborhood, usually they're working,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't see anybody. During the shutdown of the campus, we didn't see anybody, but we had them next door.
Right.
Yeah. You
Right.
knew they were there.
Exactly.
You had them next door. And because we were a buy-in, if I didn't feel like making my own meals, I could order. And the facility of being able to have me taking care of it and staying in was great.
Yes.
It was really great.
I think we've done that pretty well, coming up with
Very,
options to help.
very well.
Because none of us liked it. And I mean, Steve and I especially, we live to be out with the residents, really and truly. It's our favorite part of our job. And so we felt that same kind of anguish, like we don't want to be stuck in our offices without you guys. So
No, and it's the only place. I've said that for years. If I could afford to be here,
You'd be here.
and God's plan, He heard me.
yes, with your sister and
And
Robin
Robin.
Lyons. Yeah, it's wow.
Well, you're here for a reason. You are somebody's nominee, and you have great testimony to Glencroft. I mean, I wish we had an whole hour just to hear that.
I
It's
know,
fascinating.
and
I
we
love
didn't
that
even
insight.
script that.
No,
We didn't even
we
have you tell us a great story about Glencroft. It was just in you, so thank you.
But we know you have somebody special you want to nominate to keep this momentum going in this program. So, without further ado, who do you got for us?
Okay, when I got my phone call and this is, who would you nominate? And I said, this is a person that I've known pretty much from, probably about the first year. And it's Olivia Flores.
Oh, nice.
Very good.
I thought maybe she had been chosen because we had Anita North ran the bingo on Saturdays, the second and fourth Saturday, and when she went to retire, she asked Olivia and she asked me if we would take over, not knowing each other, and all of that. We took over, and we had a ball. People enjoyed it, and we hit it off. We did not. Neither one of us was boss. We were co-partners. And if they ask Olivia anything, it turns out we thought so much alike.
Yes.
And we had a ball, and so that's why I'm nominating her.
That's a great nominee.
It is a great nominee. Good job.
And we still talk, and we still laugh, and
That's what it's
just
all
have a
about.
wonderful time.
That's awesome. Well, you're a great nominee. We thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you. It was
Telling your
fun.
story of how you got here. And I know it's been a crazy couple of years in your world and all of our worlds, but it's fun to kind of get on the other side of that. And especially the campus reopening. I think last week with Gold Rush, and it's kind of, we just feel the energy's kind of back. And
Yes.
so it's important. So appreciate
Thank you.
being
Well,
here.
this is home.
Oh.
This is it.
That is a great line to end on. This
go.
is home. Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
That's it. Kaye, what a show.
Yes.
Kaye,
Yes.
what a show.
What a show.
I say it every time, but that was one take, both guests. Not that we need multiple takes.
Well, I was going to say, we usually
That
do
felt like one take.
but it was really, really good.
There was no editing in this. That was raw.
No, you're right.
That was really
just-
good.
Oh, we are amazing. And, our guests are pretty good.
All right, who do you want to start with? Both of them were great. You want to start with yours? Your girl?
Yes.
She's
Well, I have
unbelievable.
to tell you, I knew a lot of that, but it's so interesting when you hear it played back because she really does have quite the background. And I think you and I would agree on this, and we've talked about it. You don't see anybody working as hard as Laura.
No, she's all over the map.
She gets to work.
She's on it.
She works until she leaves. I mean, she
If
doesn't goof around.
She doesn't goof around.
Unlike you, but she really works.
She does work hard, but I didn't know any of the dynamics she has with her family and her cooking. I haven't gotten past this.
You have not gotten past the cooking. You're hoping
She
for
has
some
homemade
food.
lasagna.
Yeah, she's a really multifaceted person that you just don't know about until you really
Well, I
get to
wouldn't
know
have
her.
known any of this backstory of her on Wall Street and hedge funds. And I mean, analytics are analytics and numbers are numbers, no matter nonprofit or for. But when you
Right.
have that to lean on, and she's probably saw some shady things in her days. I'm just saying.
Oh,
New
maybe.
York?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Probably so.
Hedge funds, you think?
Oh, yeah.
So come to our world of nonprofit, doing everything for the people, by the people.
Yes.
It's fun for her, I bet.
Oh, she does love it. She's really happy to be here.
All right, and then Hedin.
I
Hedin.
love
We love her.
Rose Mary. She is so sweet, and
She's just got a good calming aura.
what that has got to be everybody's life dream, to have your best friend of 50 years.
Oh. And what a best friend to have.
Oh, I
Don't
agree.
get me started
She
on
was
that one.
wonderful. And I loved her genuine endorsement of Glencroft. That was not made up or
No.
prompted or what
She
she
didn't
thought
even know she was
should
getting
say.
a coffee mug till after. That wasn't even like, here's some mug. That was raw again. But
Again.
she said it. 40 years, I knew this is where I wanted to be. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Oh, it is.
All right, it was a
Great
great
story.
show. What are you going to do? I don't know if we can top it, but we got to try next week.
We will
We
be
got
back.
that resident. We're coming.
Yep.
Inspiration, and then we got an amazing special guest. So buckle up next week.